Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Admiral Pegasus. On today's video, we're going to follow up on a comment from the last video which said, no tricks, no tips on crewing. Thanks for the comment, thanks for the feedback, and thank you for the view, because you would have had to watch the whole video to know I didn't actually put any crew ideas in last video. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually delve deeper into these hostiles, and I'm even going to put up a chart that's been done up by the likes of Quasar, Blue Mandarin and Jules Verne, so we can actually see where all the loot is. But let's jump into this one. So where do we start? Well, it's going to be here. This is the new space introduced in update 82, and I can tell you now, it's got a warp range of 100 just to even gain access to this. Now, obviously, I can show you this because I got the Rialto, which is not exactly got the highest warp range. But the one thing is as well, I'm also going to be using this ship, a Gladius, because there are a few players who would turn around and said, we can't do these. We can't do these. Why can't you do them? This is a 38 million Gladius. And I can tell you now, going into the battle logs, those 245s up there, it killed. Yes, I took a lot of damage, and as you can see by the battle log that's already been done, I took a fair bit of damage, but I took this thing down. It's only 1 million less than me. Yeah, that is it. But anyway, why did this thing take so much hull? Why can I actually hit with a G3 rare, a level 32 ship, and why are players struggling? Well, I think players are struggling based because they don't fully understand the decay method. Because these things have a unique weapon which goes off before the whole combat even starts. And that is a decay called the hypothermic decay. And as you can see, this at 45, this is where they all start at 25%. And as well, these things have got some reasonable mitigation stats as well. But to be perfectly honest, right? For me, yes, I am up 63, so I have a lot of other hull research, damage research, isolytic research. I've got a lot more than what a level 32 player has. But the one thing is, this thing is blasting out a fair bit. Now, when it comes to these ships, it's understanding where's your damage coming from. That's it right there. So it would probably be ideal for you to understand what kind of shot these things are doing to begin with. So as you can see here, 8.7 million hull damage, because this weapon goes straight to your hull. It ignores standard mitigation, it ignores the shield mitigation, and that's it. And then as you can see as well, I've also got an additional bonus for the Gladius, which is a stabilizer. Yes, we'll talk about the stabilizer in just a moment and how that is in fact, I'll tell you what, let's throw it in here. It's part of the new building, which you'll see in the last video, where I actually did look at the building a little bit more, and I stupidly upgraded it to level 22 without actually thinking, oh, does the refinery update for this thing? But hey-ho, that's my mistake, my bad. Don't copy that mistake. Check every levels. It goes 6, 11, 16, 21, all the way up to the 40s, and then it drops down to every 2 levels. But the stabilizer basically mitigates that hypothermic decay. So basically 10% of my total hull, no, sorry, let me get this one right, because that, I can tell you now, that 10% is not 10% of that. But basically what it does, it protects my hull and takes that 25% decay down. So obviously the whole health that I've mitigated is 3.5 million. Now, if we want to know how this actually works, basically, like I say, you're going to have to sacrifice a ship, and then you can go in and decide what you're going to do. So as you can see here, by the health stats here, yes, I've got an officer bonus, which is helpful, but my Gladius has got a 35.06 million hull. What does that mean? Well, he's going to take 8.7 million off in a shot without me having a stabilizer. So losing 3.5, saving myself 3.5 million, that's actually going to mean I can survive that little bit longer. And you can see even this Gladius only went 1 round, because pretty much these things are as weak as hell. Literally as weak as hell. So if we actually go into the next stage of the combat log, which is by now we should know it's all the abilities from the officers to the ships that activate before any weapons fire. Then obviously there's all the shots. Then there's the additional activation of any other abilities which happen as a result of being shot or firing weapons. So this is technically a 0 point, then followed by the first step of the battle log. So as you can see, my hull breach, my burning, my shield mitigation has kicked in, Nurse Chapel's kicked in, Enterprise E data's kicked in, and there we go. I'm literally firing. Then it comes. Sorry, the hostile itself comes out with a 60.8 million shot. That's around about apparently 25% of its original damage. Yeah. 25% realistically would be 15 million, but hey ho. I'm not quite sure how that decay really works, but I think it's literally... Let me work it out correctly. Oh yeah, sorry. 35 million hull. Mine's 35 million hull. Let me get this right. And then this thing takes 25% of that hull. So 8.7 million would roughly be, if we actually, let's bring up the handy dandy calculator for this one. So 35 divided by 4, because 425 is going to 100, and there you've got 8.75. Obviously, I've got a little bit over 35 million, but there we go. So that's how it's doing. It's literally taking that off your hull. So that's what you need to be aware of. Whereas if I went in with, say, like an Enterprise D, which my Enterprise D is quite a lot more powerful. If we can find it. Here we go. So as you can see, what's this going to deal? This is dealing 645 or just under 646 million hull damage. That's how much it's dealing. And that would be roughly, if we actually bring it up, I've got around about 2. If we just move that back, move it back into the middle there, and then if we just, I need the thing, scroll up to the hull. So as you can see, I've got 2.58 billion. So if we jump into 2.5 divided by 4, 6.25, right? 6.25, jump into the battle log. 645 billion is about, million is about right for a 25% hull reduction. So watch out. That is where all your damage, yes, you have to watch out, but that is where all your damage is actually coming from. So if we jump back into the Gladius's shot, so this thing's immediately taking that 25% off. It's fired an additional shot. Then I've literally opened fire on it. But then we've got Hugh activate. We've got Enterprise E Picard activating with his isolated damage. The hostile fires another shot. The Gladius loses shields, fires another shot, blows it up. The Gladius has literally fired 2 shots. Yes, one of them is a critical. One of them is a critical, and I've got a lot of critical damage boost. As you can see, my standard shot with the Gladius was literally 4.2 million, and then suddenly it's jumped to 51 million. That's a significant boost. But 2 shots, and my Gladius is dealt with this. That is how weak these hostiles actually are. So, for players turning around saying, I can't do this, I can't do this, this is not for free-to-play. It is for free-to-play. Work around. What can you use against this thing? To be honest, it's just making sure you survive that first shot. As long as you can survive that first shot, you're going to get through and you're going to be able to kill one of these things. Yes, you need to make sure that you'll only lose a certain amount of hull. Because I noticed when I went up and smacked the 51s, I was losing about 55% of my hull. So basically I could only kill one of them. So just make sure, sacrifice a couple of ships, figure out what it is you need and what size ship you need and the amount of hull. How much hull it's taken off, and then making sure that you can survive the subsequent battle. Like I said, this one eventually is taken less off me, but don't forget as well, I've got an additional thing on this, and which actually didn't even kick in this round, to be perfectly honest. And because of the officer slots aboard the Gladius, I didn't have available. Did I have? No, I didn't have Hugh on board. Pick Hugh on board, so obviously I wasn't repairing any of my hull at any time. But that's potentially another officer you could potentially look at running. Now, what crews would you want to actually particularly run? Well, straight out, there's only one particular crew that really you want to be looking at, and that's a max loot crew. Literally just a max loot crew. Now, there is another variation, which is probably actually a bigger max loot crew. Whatever, I don't care. Is this particular one, because Rachel Garrett has got her own ability. Obviously, she synergizes with Picard, so that's increasing the loot. Then I've got 5 of 11. But obviously, my Rachel Garrett's only tier 1. It's not much use, but again, it's extra loot. So, by all means, I'm using that. I've got some isolated damage below deck with Bellona Taurus for me hull breach, Neelix for me burning. Yes, I could put Harry Kim on. That's going to give me that extra bit of isolated damage. Contrary with the Star Path research about shield regeneration, so that could really help as well to mitigate how much damage I'm actually taking. But again, another officer, as I've already mentioned, if we can quickly find him, is just making sure that I actually catch him. I haven't got below deck, have I? Let's get the below decks up. That'll be the one best way to find him. And here he is Hugh. Using Hugh and using this ability just to reclaim some of that damage that you've taken from the hypothermic decay. But again, as you can see, it says taken from the previous round. So if you do make it into round 2, you're going to get that hull repair. You're going to survive that little bit longer. Obviously, anything else that you can think of to try and boost your chances. Q, Nurse Chapel, isolatic damage. Hell, you can go in with a standard full crew loadout if you really wanted to. My standard crew loadout, which I would use on my Enterprise D, is pretty much this. Obviously, having Pellier in here for some isolatic defense. Joaquin, he would be a good one if you've unlocked him. I haven't, but he would be another good one with the isolatic defense and everything. Yes, I want to discard. But if we jump back into the battle logs and actually look at the next ability for these things, increasing weapon damage by 5,000% and also critical damage floor by 150%. So they've got some weapons damage behind them. They've got some power, but their hulls are incredibly crap. And that's where it's going to come down to. 23 million hull and a 25 million shield. That's just this level 45. So that's the kind of crews you would be kind of looking at. Now, there is a little trick as well that I picked up off Rev Juicy's stream, which happened this evening, the day of recording, where he said go to Dunt because of the loot. Now, this is something I cannot confirm yes or no either way. Maybe you want to say, yeah, it makes logical sense and yeah, it sounds about right. Or, no, Pegasus, you're completely wrong, you fucknit. Is similar to Augment Space, where we have these sweet spot systems, the level 40, the level 50, the level 60. This is one thing that's been employed in this new batch of systems as well. So giving us that sweet spot where it is ideal for you to go raid. Now, attack. Now, if we look at my battle logs, as you can see, I took on a load of 49s. Another thing that really did help me is the fact I cracked out my level 60 Newton. Level 60. Maxed out. So what's this giving me as well? On top of extra loot, it's giving me an extra 120%. Any additional research that you've also done towards loot boosting is also going to help you. But I went after these level 49s on the recommendation of what Rev Juice was saying about these sweet spot systems, and I walked away with 146,000 loot. So 116. Let me get my numbers right. 116,000 loot. Wow. Okay, that's a lot more than I was killing with the 45s. And if we scroll back down a little bit further again to yesterday, when I was destroyed with an Enterprise D, killing these 45s, look how much loot I was walking away with. Again, I was using a loot crew, with the exception I've got data in, because I'd rather have that isolated damage over the loot at current. But 12,000, that was 3 runs just to do a daily. 3 runs. Now I don't need to. Newton, level 45, do my daily, not a problem, and I'm going to have excess. So what kind of excess is that going to give me? Well, I was kind of not to do my dailies before the recording, so I can actually show you. So if we jump in here to the aggregate, and like I said, when it comes to the building upgrade, you get access to this when you open the building. Watch out for the levels for the bulk to actually make sure that you pull these at the recommended level. So you've got levels 6, 11, 16, 21. I will get my numbers right in a minute. But again, 32,000. So literally in one run, one single run, if we get me numbers right, 3 days pull. I only have to do this once every 3 days. Do a couple of days, I can do a full week. 2 runs and I can do a full week. Now, that actually means a lot. I mean, should I take the Enterprise in, go kill some more hostiles? I haven't actually done that one, so I'd probably kill a lot, quite a few more. But I'll tell you what, actually, that's something I'm actually going to put on. What I'll do is I'll do an edit there to actually take it to the end where we've actually killed all these hostiles with the Enterprise D. And then we can compare how much loot I got with the Enterprise D in comparison to what I got with the Newton. With the Newton, I killed 5 hostiles. 5 hostiles. So, how many am I going to kill with the Enterprise D? Well, let's find out. And I'll put a loot crew, and I'll get the loot crew on it as well. So, let's jump to the end of that and we'll see how much we took. Okay, so the Enterprise D has finally been destroyed, and I can tell you now I got 6 hostiles. 6 hostiles, and I shouldn't have done that one. We'll do the dead one, because the dead one's the best one to get your cargo on. $112,000. 4,000 less, 1 extra kill. Now, would Rachel Garrett have increased that? Potentially. Who knows? I could run it and find out. Let's run it and find out. Okay, so the Enterprise has got back. And as you can see, there's the last kill without Rachel Garrett. And there's the kill with Rachel Garrett. So again, 6 hostiles. Okay, so it's just 1 extra kill. And just to confirm, there's Rachel Garrett up the top, because obviously I was stupid enough not to actually show you me putting Garrett on the ship. And I'll just show you that Rachel Garrett was on the ship when it was launched for the first kill. So there we go. Now, if we jump up here, it came as a surprise to me, this one. But not much of a surprise. 118,000, 2,000 more than with my Newton. But again, that's 2,000 more with an extra kill over the Newton. So despite the fact the Newton is a G4, rare ships, shipyard 46, in comparison to a G5 Epic, the Newton didn't do too bad. It stood up pretty well against these things. So 118,000 is actually a very reasonable number for the Enterprise. So there we have it. Crews are pretty good. Now, I did say that we'll have a chart to put up as well. What I'm going to do, full screen it for you so you can actually read it. So this is the actual chart. Yes, I will move the camera out of the way of everything behind me. But what we can see from this then is we've got the level systems right here. We've got the level that it actually has, what system it is, level. And then the ship's decay, hypothermic decay rate is here. So you can see those low level ones, the G4 ones, are only kicking out 25%. Then you got 50, then you got 100. And then behind me is a whopping 250%. Ow, that's going to hurt. But they've got the mitigation stats in as well, the amount of damage, and also the crit floor. So what I could do is move out the way for you. There you go. You've got everything about the damage that there is on these hostiles. So they've got some isolate. So as you can see, that the G5 ones starting at level 51 have got isolatic damage as well as critical damage on that one, and then crit chance. And then when you get down to the bottom here, you've got apex barrier as well on the big ones. So that's one thing you're going to have to be aware of as well. In the next column, obviously the warships themselves is what loot they're actually dropping. So as you can see, you've got common, so you got G4 common, G5 uncommon, G6 rare, and G6 epic. So we can see the kind of loot that they're actually dropping. And as you'll see that the level 49 right there is 4,750 as the base loot. It's their base loot. Then obviously you'll move into the G5 ones. Again, level 59s will have the 12,000 on G5 uncommon. And then as you can scroll through, you got the rest of them as well. Now, as well, what you're going to have to watch out for is the rarity of a goblin and a hobgoblin. Yes. Now, the goblins have got the survey symbol along with a star next to it. But yet the hobgoblins has just got the survey symbol. What kind of loot they drop in? They drop exactly the same as each other. Exactly the same with each other. Why have we got two different goblins that drop the exact same loot? Makes absolutely zero sense to me. But here you go. There it is. So, and then obviously on the far side as well, we've got the building level that you'll recommended to be to offset all these decay rates. So the first one, obviously you're going to need level 36. That's going to be your first weak point, so you can take care of those G4 ones up the top there. Level 51, so you can do the G5 ones. Level 61 to do the G6 ones, and level 67 to do these G6 ones. So big shout out then to Jules Verne, sorry, let me get his name right. Jules Verne, Blue Mandalorian, and Quasar, and the rest of the Star Trek Fleet Command community for working together to get these numbers as quickly as possible. But this is it. These are the figures. Your sweet spots are going to be 49, 59, 66, and about 70, realistically. And that's going to get you the best loot. But again, watch out for everything in this section here, because this is where the problems are going to start for you. Now, there is another chart that... Oh, here we go. I should have actually looked to see if this was available for the last video, but hey ho, we'll put it in. Again, shout out to the team for actually doing this. And there you go, you got your hypothermic stabilizer, where they are at what particular level as well. So, yeah. I mean, it is going up every 10 levels, so just watch out. There are some other levels with the hypothermic stabilizer in between as well as all the other ones. But it's just a quick overview, just to give you a quick idea. Then we've got this one, which is the refinery. Again, a lot of this is still yet to be filled in. So do check your refinery. Do regularly check your refinery, because as you can see, if you just see in the corner up the top there, it does change quite a lot. So get those numbers. Make sure you can know what you're getting. That's it. But anyway, there you go. That's the tricks and tips for crewing. There's only one crew really to use on this one, and that's your max loot crew. But you can use any ship. Your big point, and we'll jump back into the game for this bit. Your big point is watching out for that. Yes, just watch out for that. Check how much damage it does. Right? I did a 49 with the Gladius. So you saw that was 645 million damage. And if I can just find that particular one. No, not there. It's got to be you. Yep, here it is. Again, I was running loot crew, but you saw how much, you can see how much damage this thing actually took. So we actually got into a firefight. It lasted a single round. But again, 25%, 8.7 million. So it's literally based on your hull. 25% of your hull. So watch out for that one. So the 51s for that extra 5%, that was actually a firefight. So, but again, this 49, yes, it depleted my shields within a single shot, and then finished me off with the second one. There's nothing I could do. It was literally, I didn't even get a shot off. Literally. If I didn't get a shot off, how did I do damage to him? There's an interesting one. Oh yeah, I did get a shot off. Duh! I did get a shot off. That's all I got. But the fact I dealt at least 20% damage to him shows how strong these things actually are when you add up all your damage. And it really does not matter what crew, because I guarantee you, that's not my primary PvE crew. That is a loot crew. That's my loot crew. But anyway, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. And what I will ask is, if you do comment, if you are going to have any criticism, make sure it's constructive. Because you never know. I might bash out an extra video to answer your question. But anyway, thank you for joining me. Hope this has actually helped make these hostiles more understandable and how they actually work. Remember, it's that first shot that's the all-important one. You get over that first shot, that's it, you're walking. You should be able to do these from level 45 upwards. That's a level 32 ship. Yes, I've got extra research. I've got extra bits and bobs to make it stronger. But it doesn't matter. It's a level 32 ship. Remember that. I'm Admiral Pegasus. Thanks for joining me. Stay safe, live long and prosper, and I shall catch you on the next video. Goodbye.